So then the battery ran out, 2 bars on it, and then it said the card was full. So now we're back in the room. Where were we? I've lost me place. Hello, and welcome to episode 338 of Prog Review, of course. And today, if you haven't read the title or description, I'm talking about Here Comes the Warm Jets by Brian Eno. It's about time I covered this one. Finally got around to it. Or it's just called Eno, because it's what he was known, Eno. Here Come the Warm Jets, a reference to for tiddling. Indeed, he's a naughty man, that Eno. It was released in January 1974, and he'd just been, well, not fired. He'd just left Roxy Music because EG Records, his management thought, hey, we've got another pop star here, because Eno was very popular. You see, he was almost as popular as Brian Ferry in Roxy Music, so they thought, hey, we could capitalise on this, and we can set Mr. Eno off on his own pop career, and he'd be a big, pop star in the same spirit and level as Roxy. But it didn't quite turn out like that. The album itself was actually recorded in 12 days, and that's what I like about it. It feels very rough and ready. It's even more left field than what Roxy were doing, and there are a host of guest people appearing on it. Of course, you've got Chris Spedding, the great Chris Spedding, Phil Manzanero, Bill McCormick, John Wetton, Andy Mackay, Lloyd Watson, the great Paul Thompson even. It's early in the morning, kids are in bed, it's school holidays, I'm doing the early ones. That's why they're not very good. What are you talking about? What do you mean? None of them are any good? How dare you? How very dare you? And of course, Robert Fripp appears on the album. It starts off with the track "Needles in the Cow's Eyes." It's very abrasive, and you get a lot of that. There's a lot of almost proto-punk songs on here before we even get to Third Uncle, which is on the next album. But it's very immediate, and Eno's lyrics are they're like free association. You're not meant to read too much into them. It's more like a tone poem than anything else. So don't worry if you, one, don't understand what's going on, or two, get them wrong, because I think even Eno himself would say the lyrics aren't that important. Yeah, 2 bars on the battery and it runs out, and then I'll do a little bit more, and then the card says it's full. So we're going to go back. I'm going to go back to where I was. Then comes the Poor Negro Blowtorch, which tells a story, a purported story of A.W. Underwood, who operated out of Pulp in Michigan, who had the ability to set things afire with his breath, and this is supposedly a love song to him. Jolly good fun to sing along to. You'll have to make the choice between the Poor Negro Blowtorch and me. Oh, la da da da. And you find out that Eno loves yodeling. He loves yodeling a lot. This is followed by Baby's on Fire, another great track, and it features the blistering solo from Robert Fripp. Fripp often does his best solos when he's working with other people. If you think of, I don't know, Bowie's Heroes, or Here, Baby's on Fire, or I'll Come Running to Tie Your Shoes, St Elmo's Fire. I'm just thinking of guitar solos Fripp's done that are just better than anything he did with him solo or King Crimson. He seems to have been let off the leash, and this is no exception. It is incendiary. Baby's on fire, incendiary. You see what I did? You see what I did? This is full of. Cindy Tells Me. It's a strange one. It's almost I don't know. It's all about domestication. Someone who's very dissatisfied with being, in domesticated. It's about boredom, I think, more than anything else. Driving Me Backwards. It's goes in full noise terror mode. I've never been a big fan of it because it's very, very dissonant, and I've got to be in the right mood for it. So, yeah. If you had the album, you turn it over, and it starts with "On Some Faraway Beach," which Eno channels his inner Bowie. You can hear with the backing vocals. It's very, very Bowie-esque, and it's almost like it was written for Bowie. It could be a Bowie song. I love it though. It's very lush, and it's a great crescendo. It builds up, and then we go into two great songs. The first is "Blank Frank," which is another disjointed, character study, which is full of humour and wacky stuff. And "Dead Finks Don't Talk," which again, the two of these back to back, I love intensely. The Penultimate Tracks, some of them are old. It's almost like a nursery rhyme. It has some of the greatest slide guitar by Lloyd Watson. It's just, I think it's like lap steel guitar, slide guitar, whatever. It is just really, really fantastic. And then we play it with "Here Comes the Warm Jets," which is an instrumental. And what Eno does on this track is there are two drummers playing, and I love it because they go in and out of phase with each other. It's a technique I used on a few years back. I used to get a few drum loops and put them against each other, and you kind of create this kind of swirl, this whoosh. If they're of the same tempo, obviously, you can get it if it's like beat matching. You have to kind of match the beats up, and you can get this kind of swirly effect, and you get it quite well with this one. And it's a really great. I love it. It's a really great play out. A very simple tune, but very effective. And Eno comes in at the end and sings his little heart out, and we're out of here. It's like I said, it's a very left field album. It's almost like a pop album through the looking glass. I can imagine the executives at Island and EG Records went, "What's this, Brian? How are we going to sell this? There's no single, Brian," because it's like he's gone through a variety of styles, and there's kind of all sorts of influences on this record. He's gone through it all and just twisted them around 360. That is the genius of the record. I think it's a very strong first album. Very few albums, very first premiere albums are this strong. But then he has got an excellent musical cast backing him up. His first four. I think I've got that wrong. I'm sure there was a gap between 3 and 4, but the first 4 vocal albums are they're quite interesting because they're very different. From this to Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy, they're kind of similar, but the influence is he's got Phil Manzanera on production, so the influence is slightly more straight. Then you've got Another Green World, which is his grand statement. It's one of the best albums ever, that is. And then there's Before and After Science, which is, again, there's some good stuff on there, but you get the feeling he's run out of steam. But it all comes from this. So do check out this one first. I don't think you'd be disappointed with it, though. I mean, again, if you're a Fripp fan, you're going to love it because there's a lot of Fripp on here doing solos and stuff. And if you like Roxy, you know, there's some Roxy stuff on here. Yeah, it's a very cool beginning. You know, you can see why. And to ditch all this and to become, you know, to go into ambient music and to do that, it's just the polar opposite of what this is. And you'd never have guessed from this album where Eno would have ended up. And that's genius. That's genius for you, is to always remain unpredictable. So yeah, in terms of a rating, I mean, I am going to give this. I mean, even though there's a couple of tracks like Driving Me Backwards and well, mainly Driving Me Backwards, even though it's a bit of a duff one, I'm going to give this. Ooh, I'm going to give this. Yeah, I'm going for it. I'm going to give this 5 Pop or Negro blowtorches out of 5. That's 5 Pop or Negro blowtorches out of 5. And I think everyone needs to have this album in their lives. So that's it. My name's been Darren Locke. I've been talking about Brian Eno's first solo album, which is called Here Come the Warm Jets. Not to be confused by the band Warm Jets from the late 90s, who I'm a big fan of as well. I have to do their album. That's not really prog, but I do like it. So there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you'll check this record out. Only one more thing to say, and you know what that is. Are you ready? Good. Prog on.